Let us see what happens when acids react with carbonates. You know when you mix something like baking soda with an acid? That fizzing and bubbling you see, that's a chemical reaction happening right there. And today, we're going to break it down completely. This is a very important reaction for your exams, so pay close attention.
So this is the main question for today. It's a reaction that you see quite often, and by the end of this, you will not only understand what happens, but you'll also understand why it happens and how to write it perfectly in your answer sheets.
So how do we figure this out? Simple. In science, we do an experiment. Let's start with the setup, which is actually very, very easy.
We just need 2 test tubes. In the first one, test tube A, we'll put a little bit of sodium carbonate. And in test tube B, we'll put some sodium hydrogen carbonate. You probably know this as baking soda. Simple, right?
Okay, now for the main part. We are going to add our acid. In this case, it's dilute hydrochloric acid, or HCl, to both of these test tubes. So, what do you think is going to happen?
All right, it's time for the reaction. Let's see what happens the moment the acid touches the carbonate. And there it is. Instantly, you see all these bubbles, a real fizz happening. In chemistry, we have a proper word for this: effervescence. This is our first big clue, you know? It tells us that a gas is being produced.
So, this is the important question. We can see the bubbles, so we know a gas is forming. But which gas is it? How can we be sure?
Every good scientist has to investigate. So let's become detectives for a minute and find out the identity of this mystery gas. Now, there is a very famous test for this called the Limewater test. It's simple. We just collect the gas that's coming out and bubble it through a clear solution called Limewater. Limewater is just calcium hydroxide solution.
And now, for the big reveal, what happens to the Limewater is going to give us the final answer.
And look at that. It's so clear. Before, the Limewater was transparent, just like water. But after passing the gas, it instantly turns cloudy or milky. This change is the proof we were looking for. You see, this milky appearance is the final confirmation test for carbon dioxide. So, mystery's solved. The gas produced when an acid reacts with a carbonate is carbon dioxide, or CO₂.
So, what is this milky thing really? Well, a new substance has formed, a solid called calcium carbonate. This solid doesn't dissolve in the water, so its tiny particles just float around, making the whole solution look milky. And we call this a white precipitate.
So, we've seen the experiment, and we've identified the gas. Now let's write it all down in the language of chemistry, with the correct equations and the general rule. Okay, let's look at the chemical equations. Notice something interesting? Whether we use sodium carbonate or sodium hydrogen carbonate, the products are the same. In both cases, the reaction gives us a salt, sodium chloride, plus water, and of course, our gas, carbon dioxide. And this right here is the equation for our confirmation test. The Limewater, which is CaOH2, reacts with our gas, CO₂, to form that milky white precipitate of calcium carbonate, CaCO₃, and some water. But wait, there is a small twist. This is a very important point for your exams. If you keep passing CO₂ through the milky solution for a longer time, it actually becomes clear again. This is because a new, soluble substance is formed. Just remember this little detail for tricky questions.
So, what's the big picture? What's the main rule here? It's very simple, and it works every time. Any metal carbonate or metal hydrogen carbonate, when it reacts with an acid, will always produce a salt, carbon dioxide, and water.
Okay, now let's focus on the most important thing, your exams. How do you take all this information and make sure you score full marks on any question about this topic?
First, let's talk about what not to do. These are the most common mistakes students make. Don't write the wrong gas. It's CO₂, not hydrogen. Please don't forget to mention the Limewater test. That's the proof. And finally, always write the complete, balanced equation. So, here are the top tips for the perfect answer. Number 1, always say that carbon dioxide gas is released with effervescence. Number 2, always write that the confirmation test is passing it through Limewater, which turns milky. And number 3, write the correct balanced equation. You do these 3 things, and you are all set for full marks. If there is one single line you have to remember from this entire explainer, it is this. This is the golden line. CO₂ gas gives milky Limewater. Just learn this by heart.
And that's it. That is the complete story of how acids react with carbonates. From the bubbling to the milky Limewater test, you now know all the key points. Just remember the general rule. Carbonate plus acid gives salt, water, and CO₂, and you will do great in your exams. Remember it well.